Oh, hi there. Welcome to Alley Picked. I have a general woodworking rule. That is, don't paint wood.
Not gonna do it. Wouldn't be prudent at this juncture.
However, there are a few exceptions, like today's project, where I make something really cool out of something I found in the alley. Welcome to Alley Picked. It looks like somebody got rid of all of their chairs. Even this good condition but well-worn rocking chair. I love the rocker, so I'm going to put it in the back of my van to be used for a future project. I didn't know what I was going to do with the chair until I went to this small town in Illinois called Long Grove. I walked into a store called Vintage Charm Homestead. One of the things they sold in this store were decoupage supplies. Decoupage is not a new craft, but there's a lot of interesting ways that you can use it to decorate furniture. So that's what I decided to do with this chair. This is old paint. The Benjamin Moore in the middle is at least 18 years old. So I'm going to combine all three colors in order to get the color that I like. I then strain the mixture to remove any debris or clumps. When I did put it into the sprayer, it was too thick. So I added a little water to thin it out. That did the trick. Just enough water to thin the paint, enough to blast through the nozzle. Of course, you don't need a paint sprayer to paint furniture, but it will give your project a more professional look rather than using a roller or a brush. Plus, it's a little bit faster. This is the tissue paper that I bought from the Vintage Charm Homestead store. Since this is my first attempt at decoupage, I watched a few YouTube videos in order to understand some useful techniques. I cut the paper slightly larger than it needed to be. Before it can be applied, I'm going to iron out the folds in the paper. This is where I made my first mistake. I laid the paper face down with some parchment paper on top. After I ironed it, the ink on the paper stuck to the towel. Fortunately, it came off without any damage. Then I flipped the paper over and ironed it the right way. I am a complete novice when it comes to decoupage, so before attempting this yourself, I encourage you to watch videos from other people with more experience than I have. While I do end up getting good results, my techniques may be a little unorthodox. Another tip that I learned is that people use plastic wrap to press and rub the paper into the adhesive, which, by the way, the adhesive I also bought at the Homestead store. I ended up not using a whole lot of this stuff and probably could have just used a small bottle of Mod Podge, which I already had. I'm starting at the top and only applying a thin coat of adhesive to the small area. It would be a disaster if I applied adhesive to the whole surface and then tried to lay down the tissue paper. I continue the process until the whole area is covered. I remembered that I had this rubber roller, which worked perfectly. I do roll carefully so I don't tear the thin paper. To remove the excess paper, I'm using sandpaper glued to this ruler. I do remove a small amount of paint this way, but no biggie, I can just touch it up later. I'm making sharp edges by cutting the paper where I want it to end. Another method that I saw was to tear the edges and then paint over the top to blend the paper edges into the painted wood. After everything dries for a couple of hours, I apply the same adhesive product I used under the paper to the top of the paper. After letting that dry for a few hours, I then apply clear satin water-based polyurethane to the whole chair, and I give it 2 coats. I also did the same steps on the top of the chair as I did on the seat. A few minor touch-ups and this project is in the books. Before I show you the finished project, let me remind you that if you like repairing, reusing, and refinishing stuff, let the whole world know when you wear a hat or a shirt like this. You can check out these designs and more at www.simpletoncreation.com. I also hope that you're going to like and subscribe to this channel and come back here for more. Now, here it is.